To this very special and exciting event as Maine Law introduces Leigh Saufley as our next dean. Over the last month or so, the faculty and staff have held daily meetings to discuss all things coronavirus related. I've got to be honest, this 8:15 meeting is a wonderful change of pace. I'm excited for Dean Saufley's arrival. She's the right person to build on the many strengths of this law school. I believe this is already one of the top law schools in the country for students who want to be part of a truly integrated legal community. Those who want to be small firm and solo practitioners, those who want to engage in rural practice, those who not only want to learn how to practice law, but want to actually become part of a legal community while they're still in law school. Something that distinguishes us from most other law schools in the nation is not just our small size, but our close and intimate connection to Maine's bench and bar. Our alums make up a large portion of Maine's legal community, and a large portion of our graduates stay in Maine to become leaders in the state, including the current governor and the most recent Chief Justice of the Maine Supreme Judicial Court. I hear she's been pretty amazing. Dean Saufley is poised, to paraphrase a line from Spinal Tap, to take these strengths and crank them to 11. I expect that Maine Law will continue to be a beacon of what a small, closely knit, truly integrated law school can be. Dean Saufley will also continue to build on our national strengths. Our information privacy program has been recognized as one of the top in the country. Our environmental law program and offerings are likewise some of the best in the nation and will be bolstered by the recently launched certificate in environmental and oceans law. Our Arctic law program, including the Arctic Fellowship program, is without a doubt the best in the nation. And I haven't mentioned our incredible clinics. This transition comes at an exciting time for the law school. It's a time of many changes, and two people were particularly instrumental in ensuring the law school's success. I should point out that it's no surprise that both of them are lawyers. They truly understand what makes us special, what makes Maine Law such a critical asset. An asset to the University of Maine System with our dual degree programs, the 3+3 program, an asset to Maine's business community with our collaboration with Maine Center Ventures, the non-JD compliance certificate program, and the upcoming launch of the Master of Legal Studies degree for professionals. And most importantly, an asset to the state. It's not just the 14,000 hours that our clinical students give every year to provide legal service to those in need. Thousands more hours that our students provide in pro bono services to those who need it most. But according to the Department of Labor data, the total statewide economic impact of our graduates is $45.6 million and expected to grow to $51.3 million by 2026. That's not bad for one of the smallest law schools in the nation. So I would like to introduce one of these two men, Jim Erwin, the chair of the University of Maine System Board of Trustees. Chair Erwin is a partner at Pierce Atwood, a prestigious Portland law firm that is often a close collaborator of many of Maine Law's programs. Last year, under the leadership of Chair Erwin, the Board of Trustees formed a committee to consider the future direction of the law school, and the report generated by that committee unequivocally reaffirmed Maine Law's critical importance to the state of Maine and spurred some important changes to the law school's governance structure. But one of the most important things Chair Erwin and the board have done is hiring Chancellor Malloy. The Chancellor has been an incredibly strong advocate and an ally for the law school, has made the success of the law school his top priority, and we're all grateful for that. So with that, I want to thank both men for their continued support. I want to thank the students, the faculty, and the staff here for their support, and hand the virtual mic over to Chair Erwin.
Well, thank you very much, Dmitry, and good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure and honor to speak to you today to convey the Board of Trustees' enthusiastic congratulations to Chief Justice Saufley on becoming Dean of the University of Maine School of Law. Our careers began around the same time in the same place, in the Maine Attorney General's office, way back when you were still Leigh. Our careers quickly diverged, but never too far apart. And I've had the privilege of appearing before you at multiple levels in Maine's court system over the last 30 years. And Chief, as someone who has been exclusively on the receiving end of your probing questions, I'm frankly not all that sorry to see you stepping aside from the law court. The law school, on the other hand, will surely benefit from the hard questions you will ask, because they will be the right questions. Let me extend the board's sincere thanks to Dmitry for his dedication and excellent stewardship of the law school for this past year. The law school is fortunate to have a legal scholar who has been willing to take on the additional responsibilities of interim dean and perform them so well. So thank you. We all know that the law school is a vital part of Maine's public higher education system and a critical asset for the Maine economy. We know that critical thinking and clear communication of the highest order are more and more essential to the knowledge economy. And as a state, we need the law school to continue to prepare our students for careers in law, in public service, in business, and in civic leadership. The law school is also part of an innovative project at the University of Maine System, the University of Maine Graduate and Professional Center. The Board of Trustees believes that the success of the Maine Center is also critical as a catalyst for cross-disciplinary and extra academic collaborations that can transform relationships both within and without the academy, while building Maine's next generation of business and civic leaders. Now, as excited as we are to make this announcement today, we can't completely sugarcoat the challenges that lie ahead. As with higher education generally, the law school faces some significant obstacles as changes ripple through the economy, the legal services industry, and the legal education marketplace, changes to which the law school must adapt. When Chancellor Malloy arrived here in the late spring of 2019, a board-appointed task force was, as Dmitry indicated, hard at work considering the law school's direction. Just in time for his first board meeting as Chancellor, the group issued its report to the board. And the board remains grateful to the members of that group, which included, albeit briefly, Chief Justice Saufley. We did what any good board would do. We delegated. We said, here you go, Chancellor. Go find the right person to lead these changes. And now, 8 months later, we can't quite believe our good fortune to be able to announce that Chief Justice Saufley has stepped forward to do so. So thank you, Chancellor Malloy, for executing this task so well. Thank you to University of Maine System General Counsel and Chief of Staff Jim Thalen for chairing the search committee. To my colleague Lisa Marchese-Eames for representing the board so well on the search committee, and to the entire search committee for your time, dedication, and obvious good judgment. I also want to thank our state's leaders, Governor Mills and her predecessors, current and former legislators, justices of the law court, the rest of the judicial branch, and members of the Maine Bar, because as Dmitry stated, all of you are the reason that the culture of Maine's legal community, including most significantly its judicial system, is the envy of 49 other states. And that culture is, I believe, a big reason why our Chief Justice could become Dean of our law school by what amounts to statewide unanimous consent. Now, Dean Saufley, you leave behind a record of exemplary leadership at one state institution, challenged to fulfill a critical public mission with limited resources, and move to another. And as you do that, I think you will find much in your new home that looks familiar. It had at one point been my hope that when you did decide to leave the court, you would follow your two immediate predecessors into what former Chief Justice Dan Wathen has labeled the Retired Chief Justice's Practice Group at Pierce Atwood. However, now that I'm a member of the Board of Trustees charged with the stewardship of the law school and of the University of Maine System, I am more than happy to see our paths reconverge by welcoming you to the role of law school dean instead. You have answered yet another call to public service, and I can't think of anyone better suited to this most important leadership role at this most consequential time. And the best part is, now, finally, I get to ask the questions. And with that, it's my distinct pleasure to turn you over to the Chancellor of the University of Maine System, the Honorable Dannel Malloy.
Thank you, Chair Erwin. I very much appreciate your comments and will state publicly how much I enjoy working with you day in and day out as we address the needs of the entire University of Maine system. I want to also begin my remarks by singling out Dmitry and the faculty of the law school. This has been a tumultuous period of time without a dean, while a dean search was going on, also while study groups were working on how to reposition the law school. And Dmitry and his team and the faculty, with faculty support, has done an absolutely outstanding job. I, in fact, think that their success is one of the reasons that the Chief Justice decided to join this effort to continue that repositioning of the law school, strengthening the law school as a top legal provider in all of New England, quite frankly, in all of the nation. Dmitry has gone on about some of the great strengths of the institution. And let me say that I am proud to be part of the system of which the law school is now a freestanding entity, with the dean having the being recognized in essence as the president of that freestanding institution, reporting to the system. We will continue the work of repositioning the law school, but I think we're about to be overshadowed by the strength and the perseverance of the new dean who is taking over. Let me also say that we at the system are committed to the success of the law school, and that will continue for as ever long as I am the chancellor of the system. I also want to thank the law alumni for their kind words about the law school, their demonstrated support for the law school, and their desire to see its success, and quite frankly, their overwhelming support of our new dean, Leigh Saufley. Let me say of her, she may not remember our first conversation, but I do. I was enthralled to meet her. A 15 to 20 minute bump and go casual meeting turned into an hour and a half intense discussion about our legal careers, about decisions we had made in our lives, and ultimately about the future of the law school, in which she demonstrated a strong desire to be part of its future. And obviously that led to her becoming a candidate for this position, and ultimately her willingness to accept the position. But let me also remind anyone who is watching or listening and will see this in the future that her outstanding record includes the direction of 518 employees at 35 courthouses in all 16 counties of Maine. She is a superb leader and administrator as well as lawyer. And she has demonstrated something that we need in our system, and that is the ability to convince the legislature of the needs, the physical needs of our infrastructure, and I believe will convince or help convince the legislature to devote appropriate amounts of money to maintain the structures that we have alluded to, including, I hope, in the not too distant future, a new Maine Center, which the chair alluded to, is a bringing together of our MBA program, our law school program, in the future our engineering program, as well as the Muskie program, into a new venture, a national model, one of which will only be one of a handful of such models in the entire 50 states. And I think the right person to bring that about is the new dean. So based on her outstanding acumen, her great intelligence, her demonstrated administrative ability, and her vision for the law school, I am proud to welcome our new dean, Leigh Saufley, to her position and turn the podium over to her.
Good morning to all of the students, faculty, and staff of the University of Maine School of Law and all those watching and listening this morning. I want you to know how much I appreciate the comments that everyone made this morning, and to assure you that my mother at least believes them all. Thank you, Chancellor Malloy, for your solid support and commitment to the law school. It was, in fact, your vision for the law school and its place in the university system, the state of Maine, and the nation that drew me here. Your understanding of the value that lawyers bring to our complex world makes all the difference in the support for the great work being done at the law school and all of the exciting innovations to come. And the Chancellor would not be here without the original vision of the Board of Trustees in bringing him to Maine. And so many thanks to the board and its chair, Jim Erwin. I am so excited to become a part of the law school that I love. When I graduated in 1980, I could never have envisioned the doors that this law school would open for me. And those opportunities have expanded for Maine Law graduates through the intervening years. Graduates of this law school are making the world a better place in so many different settings. You all know that Maine's own Governor, Janet Mills, the very first woman ever elected to that office, graduated from Maine Law, and that the former Chief Justice, Dan Wathen, is a graduate. But did you know that Trevor Hughes, president of the International Association of Privacy Professionals, is a Maine grad? Heather Sanborn, one of the owners and business directors of Rising Tide Brewery Company, is both a Maine grad and a Maine legislator. And Hillary Rapkin, a Maine Law grad, is general counsel at WEX. Katie Narbus is an asylum officer for U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services in Boston. And every day in courts that are strained by the presence of a pandemic, Maine Law grads are finding ways to communicate with clients and advocate vigorously in a digital world. I could go on for hours identifying the amazing work of Maine Law grads, but I won't. You're welcome. The state of Maine can be very proud of its law school graduates, and those graduates can be very proud of their law school. But we should be clear that these are not ordinary times. We have all been through the strangest month any of us could have imagined. And through these challenging days, one thing that stands out is the resilience and strength of Maine Law students and the creativity and unwavering commitment to outstanding legal education that the faculty and staff have brought to the challenges of teaching in a global pandemic. At the same time, Maine Law students, faculty, staff are also individually serving the broader community by volunteering at food banks and helping their vulnerable neighbors, all while navigating distance learning and even more challenging distance exams. When we step back and look at the world today, it becomes very clear that it is in these times of challenge that we truly understand just how important excellent and innovative lawyers are to a thriving democracy. Now, more than ever, the world needs lawyers who are ready to roll up their sleeves and be part of a wide variety of problem solving, legal advice, business acumen, litigation strategies, and public service that benefit from the kind of education that the University of Maine School of Law provides. So that brings me to our plans for the future of Maine Law. Not surprisingly, we have both a short-term plan and long-term plans. The short-term plan is already in the works, thanks in great part to the amazing and thoughtful work of Interim Dean Baum. That plan focuses very specifically on assuring success for the current and prospective students of the law school. And here I want to speak candidly to the graduating class of 2020 for just one moment. You will forever be the class that graduated from law school in the midst of a global pandemic. You and your friends across the country in other graduate schools, universities, and colleges have lost the tradition of that final march across a stage. There will ultimately be a graduation and a celebration, but I want to acknowledge that it won't be the same. At the same time, however, you are gaining a reputation of the class that was undeterred by a worldwide pandemic. You're already advocating for a new approach to credentialing. You're finishing your courses, dealing with prospective employers, and managing the uncertainty of a world that no one anticipated. You already know you can do this. I want you to know that you're not going to go through it alone. Dean Baum and I will be partnering in our work addressing credentialing, employment opportunities, and a real celebration of your accomplishments when it's safe. And to the classes of 21 and 22, and those students considering law school today, there has never been a better time to study law. There's a growing realization in the world that lawyers are needed in so many different contexts. Even as we speak, there are increasing opportunities for cross-disciplinary collaboration, making lawyers indispensable in a world where business creativity, privacy, cybersecurity, and scientific innovations all call out for lawyers' skills. So let's talk briefly about the longer-term plan. Those plans begin by building on the outstanding strengths of the current programs, including excellence in national scholarship, up-to-the-minute programming for students, including the regulatory compliance program, information privacy program, the amazing Arctic Law Fellows Program, and environmental and coastal law programs. And unlike other law schools that are really just beginning to understand the critical importance of clinic programs in producing lawyers who are ready for the real world, Maine Law has a clinic program that is the envy of many. The Refugee and Human Rights Clinic has worked directly with asylees in Laredo, Texas. The Juvenile Justice Clinic has been instrumental in dramatic improvements in the lives of Maine's youth. And the Domestic Violence Clinic has undoubtedly saved lives. At the same time, the law school has redoubled its focus on providing value within the state of Maine, including its support for access to justice throughout the state, and encouraging lawyering in the underserved, beautiful rural areas of Maine. Building on those strengths, we will move forward with the Graduate and Professional Center, partnering with Maine Center Ventures, which will provide an inspiring new range of opportunities for interdisciplinary work. These plans will provide an ever-increasing breadth of opportunities for Maine law grads. As scientific incubators, businesses, and other graduate programs confirm that Maine really is the way life should be, the University of Maine School of Law will be right here to provide the lawyers of the future, lawyers with a strong tradition of public service, solid ethics, a fierce support for the rule of law, and a willingness to solve problems in brand new ways. Because the times, they are a-changin'. Now, that demonstrates how much older I am than Dean Baum. Let me just say in conclusion that I am honored to have the support of the faculty, the trustees, and the chancellor as we recover from the pandemic and move forward with all of the amazing work and plans of the University of Maine School of Law. Chancellor Malloy, back to you.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you. Your comments were outstanding and much appreciated, and I think goes a long way to explain to anyone who has seen this demonstration why you were the unanimous choice for this position. So let me say we have a lot of work to do, and it will be work that will take place over months and years. We will strengthen and stand by our law school. We will make sure that it is successful, and we will demonstrate to the whole world why our approach to legal education is the right one. Let me thank the search committee that produced this outstanding candidate. James Thalen, who is my chief of staff, chaired that. Peter Mills, did outstanding work and has been an outstanding advocate for the law school for a long, long time. Senator Heather Sanborn gave great guidance throughout the process. Trustee Ames has been spoken about, but I do want to say that she is an outstanding individual with a great knowledge of the needs of the legal community of the state of Maine. Dean Joe Williams from the University of Southern Maine did outstanding work and was a important hand in the choosing of this candidate. Law professors Deidre Smith and Charles Norkey were also inspired members. Our law student, Hillary Forsley, representing the students on the committee, did outstanding work. And staff member Sherry Abbott Nang did outstanding work and representing the entire working community at the law school. Let me say to the faculty, who I've had numerous opportunities to speak with in a relatively short period of time that I have been chancellor, I so much appreciate the work that you've done and the outstanding product that you produce day in and day out. To the students who've been referenced in the dean's speech, congratulations on your projected success. Study hard for your exams, and those of you taking the bar, study even harder for that. But I can tell you, as a one-time practicing attorney, but forever in my life a lawyer, I have a deep respect and envy for you, for the work you're doing, for the profession you've chosen, and the quality of the work that you will perform in the future. With that, I want to close the proceedings by finally saying, good luck, Dean. Look forward to working with you. And I think we're going to be on the phone at 11:30 later today to get some of that work done. Thank you very much.